Grab your spears and raise your tomahawks, Seminole fans. You're listening to The Warpath, the weekly collaboration between theosceola.com and warchant.com. My name is Nick Carlisle.
Damn it. To give everyone context, I officially found the soundboard in StreamYard, and these are sound effects they already have in there, so I might have a few surprises throughout the show.
It should be a concerning sign that he decided to do that right in front of my intro when I was on a roll. That's Matt Lasser, soundboard aficionado, apparently. My name's Nick Carlisle, staff writer for the Osceola. Matt Lasser, of course, recruiting writer for Warchant. Welcome to the show, everybody. And now I guess I'm going to have to we'll go the entire rest of the show on pins and needles because Matt Lasser has suddenly found the soundboard function inside of the StreamYard recording studio. So this might be incredibly chaotic. You found two chaotic neutrals and put them on the same recruiting podcast. So things might get out of hand.
We'll keep it to the beginning. I can see how it can get annoying through at one point, but I wanted to start off with the clap pretty quickly.
Yeah,
glad to be here.
Yeah, you're glad to be here. Hey, to be honest, it didn't really hit me until earlier this morning, but Matt and I have been out, like, part of our game day responsibilities are part of what they used to be is we both would get there a couple of hours before the game. That's when the recruits get there. We get there early, take photos of recruits, look for kind of surprise arrivals or whatever have you. I won't be doing that this year. It's going to be a little bit awkward because that was kind of like our thing. That was our game day tradition, getting out there, rain or shine, waiting out there for 2.5 hours. And especially in the case of last year.
I think I'm limiting myself on it this year, though. I don't need to be out there for 2 hours.
Last year was straight up depressing because, I mean, I don't know about you, but it just felt like as that season, and it's expected, of course, but as that season went on, just the life of game day around Doe Campbell Stadium just got sucked out of it. And, you know, we're sitting there watching all the coaching staff walk to their meeting with recruits and they look stressed out and depressed. God, it was hard to watch it sometimes. These coaches are people with families and everything too. It's a good reminder of that. But yeah, we're not going to do that this year.
Yeah, I'm limiting myself on that. Do you remember last year when Adam Fuller was wearing all black and I was trying to be like hype man and I went like, yo, Coach Fuller, like, oh yeah, wearing all black to the funeral. And it didn't, in context, I remember him looking back at me like, what? I meant the funeral of the other team. To be fair, I could see how in the context of that season how it could be taken differently after I said it.
Yeah, that was a Matt Lasser special. We've got a great show for you today. A lot to be excited about. Game day is almost here, buddy. A lot of recruits going to be in town this weekend for this Alabama-Florida State game. We'll get into all of that today, along with some of our concerns, maybe not even concerns, if you call that, our confidence level in terms of how Florida State is going to fare with their commits currently on the board. And in terms of a lot of other things going on this weekend, basketball is having a big recruiting weekend to go alongside the football recruiting weekend. But I think we should absolutely start with part of the visitor list that got released to us earlier today. Obviously, it's up on our respective sites, Warchant and theosceola.com. The visitors list. Go find it where you want it. One of the most important and intriguing visitors that's going to be on campus this weekend, former Florida State commitment, 4-star running back Omari Thomas is going to be back on campus this weekend. As per the visitors list, he's expected. Things could change. There's still 24 to 48 hours to go. But when I saw that name on the visitors list this morning, when you sent it to me, Matt, I was frankly surprised. I don't know what your reaction was, but I'm just going to go through an old Star Wars reference. The negotiator is here. Because, he's back in Tallahassee after committing to South Carolina. What was it, 2 weeks ago now? What's kind of your initial impression on what he's doing back in town? Is he here to catch a good game, or is there something more to it?
Yeah, it surprised me as well, too. And I mean, you actually saw it before me. I was out on Legacy Walk. We were students, free membership. Remember that I was with Gene, and we were trying to get students to get on Warchant for the free membership, and then Azon Ira went out after us. But yeah, I was there when we got the list, so I sent it over to Nick, and he goes, Omari Thomas is coming. I was like, no blank. And I was just really surprised. Like, it's one of those things where, like, we've known FSU was still in contact, and we've known FSU was going to still be in contact, right? Like, that's how Yak rolls. Yak doesn't let a lot of this stuff bother him. He's normally stays pretty close with the recruits pretty well after their recruitment. Like, obviously, as a coach, you can't talk to more than your guys and the recruits after someone signs, but he's normally still talking to his guys up until the very end. And so I wouldn't say it surprises me because he's also a local kid. It's not even an hour drive over here, and he can go to a game whenever he wants, and it's free. But, yeah, it's interesting. Like, I expected Florida State to be in this one till the end, but I still don't know how realistic this is considering other NIL offers and how much Florida State can offer. Like, I don't know. We don't know the exact numbers, but again, we talked about this on the first show.
Yeah, there's a ballpark number, and it's about, excuse me, to my knowledge, 4 times greater than what Florida State was offering. So, I mean, and that's going to be probably what he says, right? Not related to the NIL, but this game was a short drive away. I'm coming to watch a good game. I expect that to be something.
And I want to see
hear from Omari. Yeah,
and I want to see Coach Yak, and I still love Coach Yak. He's still a great coach and a great person. I have a great relationship with him. That's what I would expect to hear after the game, right?
Which ultimately goes back to my original point, which is the negotiators here, because this, if you're going to keep showing up to campus, this is something that's going to be dragged out probably until signing day. I'm not surprised to see Omari back. I'm surprised to see him back so quickly. You know, I would have expected him to show up. I would have expected him to show up for maybe the Miami game or something, a rivalry that means a little bit more to this program. Not to say that Alabama isn't a big game, because it absolutely is. You want as many big ticket guys at this game as you possibly can, as evident by what D-Ray said to us last week on the show. But to see Omari back so early, it perked my ears a little bit surprising to see him back this early. Obviously, we're going to have to see what comes up from this and see what he says. I mean, Omari isn't exactly the most chatty guy that you've ever talked to in terms of commitments to this program, but I'm interested to see what he says if we can get him outside of the Moore Center on either Saturday or Sunday. And that may be a good litmus test too. Is he coming back on Sunday too, or is he just going to stay for the game on Saturday and then he's going to jet out of there?
I would assume it's just the game on Saturday, right? Like, why would you stay in a hotel in Tallahassee when you live an hour away, right? And we'll see. I'd assume we get him after the game.
Sorry to interrupt. Out of curiosity, who does South Carolina play first week?
Probably a nobody, right?
They play Virginia Tech. And that's not a nobody, but that's
Where is it?
Not that.
It's the Beamer Bowl.
That is at Bryce Williams Stadium. That is at South Carolina.
That is a little interesting. That's a pretty big game. Yeah.
That's not a bad game to go to, but that's certainly not Alabama, Florida State. And that's certainly, obviously, Florida State is the school that you were committed to for 7 or 8 months. So there's something interesting going on here. I don't know if it's purely negotiation, if this is going to go back and forth until signing day. Whose campus is he on? That's something that's going to be determined. A lot of interested kids that are going to be here on this weekend, Matt. One of them being Jonah Winston, Jameis Winston's younger brother, of course, Heisman winner, Florida State legacy. Jameis Winston, of course, and he has a commitment date for August 30th as well. We don't need to touch on this too long because I think there is a certain degree of intuition to go along with the intel here. But you and I both feel pretty good that he's going to pull the trigger for Florida State on Saturday, considering he's going to be at this game and his commitment date is the same day.
Yeah, I think FSU is in a good spot. I don't think there's much else to say than that, really. He has 2 official offers as of August 1st when he posted them of when you could get your official offer, right? There's a bunch of offers. Right. He's had, like, Auburn was involved there, but the 2 official offers he posted were Florida State and Buffalo. Again, FSU's in a good spot. Wilt Fong put a pick in.
Yeah, that's right.
I like where FSU stands. So, like, it's – yeah.
Decode that, if you will. FSU in a great spot for Jonah Winston. He's going to decide on August 30th. I don't know when exactly he's going to decide. Do you know if it's before the game?
I do not have a time on it. I believe I would have guessed it's before the game. I personally hope it's before the game for my own sake of watching the game.
Yeah.
But it's either way, whether it's FSU or Buffalo, like I have to make a board post saying that he's committed somewhere else, right? Or like be like, I'm committed to Buffalo. Then during the game, people have something to get mad about at halftime. But it's like, I like where FSU sits in this one. I think, I mean, it's a Jameis Winston's brother, right? It feels like a good combination, and it feels like one.
And
that
he's been here so much. He's been here so much over the years.
Compared to other schools, yes,
correct.
And not just as visits. Yeah, I mean, he has this recruitment in general has been very quiet. He hasn't visited many places at all, and it's kind of been weird. I actually was thinking about this the other day. Do you think, because he's a good athlete, right? Like, and he had a good play against IMG in his season opener last week. Do you think this is one who, since he hasn't taken a lot of visits, he hasn't done the whole like camp circuit and stuff like that? Do you think if he got in front of more people, he would be more likely and probably would be a 4-star? And the 3-star right now is because he's Jameis Winston's brother. So like, the athletic genes are there.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, he doesn't come from like a small high school program out there. And I believe in Hoover. I think he's at Hoover. Isn't that right?
Yeah, he's at Hoover. Yep. I mean, IMG isn't playing a small program, right? Like,
right, exactly. But if he was a bit more public with his process, because I don't think he's done camps, to my knowledge. I don't remember seeing him at any of the camps.
He's probably done 7-on-7s with the school, right? But I have never seen him at like an Under Armour Next camp.
I think he absolutely could have the potential to be ranked higher if he did some of the other things that a lot of those other recruits are doing, but also just in general, just being a more quiet recruitment. And, I wouldn't be surprised if there's also a degree of, well, hey, this is kind of a layup for Florida State if he wants to go to Florida State. So are we going to invest the time to go and get a kid like that, especially if we have a guy that we like better? I don't know. There could be multiple factors at play here, but I think just generally speaking, that's the rule that you could abide. If you do more, you're going to get noticed more. And recruitments are not going to be the same for every kid. I remember just being in my time with rivals and saying, I got DM'd a bunch of times by prospects that I knew were going to get offers eventually. And it's like, well, why am I not getting my star ranking right now? Why am I not getting all these offers right now? The process is different for everybody.
Yes.
100%. And and sometimes it's not fair, unfortunately. Yeah. Stars are going to be what they are. Rankings are going to be what they are. It's on the kid to put the head down and grind. So I do think that Jonah could be. Well, part of the problem also is that he was insistent on playing quarterback for a while. Now that we've made the
wide receiver,
now that we've made the move to wide receiver,
now
that we've made the move to wide receiver, things may have opened up a little bit for him in terms of a clear picture in terms of how he can fit on a roster, and whether that's Florida State's roster, like we feel good that it could possibly be, or that's another roster. He'll be a decent fit, and I guess that is the question that I also am really curious about. I mean, Florida State's wide receiver class right now is one of the best in the country. 100%. Quietly one of the best in the country.
Yeah, it's not like because they have good talent, but some of these guys are underrated. Like a guy like Jason Lopez, it took a little bit while to get known, right? Brandon Bennett is a little bit under the radar. I don't think he was a high priority for a lot of guys. I know he wasn't a take at Florida. We'll get into that later when we talk about the guys. But yeah, they have a really good wide receiver. Devin Carter, obviously, another legacy.
So this would be the 6th wide receiver by my count in this class if Winston picks Florida State on Saturday. I believe they're up to 5 because I guess they're up to 5 or 6 if you consider EJ White a wide receiver or a defensive back. You could go either way on receiver. That. I think he's a wide receiver too. So let's see. You have White, you have Carter, you have Lopez, you have Darion, you have
Bennett.
Brandon Bennett. So Winston, if he commits to Florida State on Saturday, would be the 6th, and that's a lot of wide receivers.
And that closes out your receiver class.
Yeah, absolutely. Unless you lose somebody, and
unless you lose somebody, or you can get Calvin Russell.
Yep, that's exactly what I was about to say.
Yep,
that is a guy that you would take with open arms.
Yep,
come
easily.
Come on back home. Come on in. Another big weekend. Pause. Wait, where's the soundboard? Where's the soundboard?
We have fun here.
I lost my train of thought. Thanks, Matt.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Up to go here. I'll help you transition here. So for the rest to go into the other big headlines for this visit weekend, and there's been a lot of changes in this list over the past 24 hours since it's about 3 o'clock when we're recording this on a Thursday. Like Ashari Charles is no longer officially visiting. Johnny Jones is no longer coming, and neither is Cameron Wilson. We'll get into other ones before of like little kind of replacements for that. Cameron Wilson is still trying to come. I believe Johnny Jones is still trying to come. Ashari Charles, not really sure about. I would feel less likely about that one, that's canceled. But we do have quarterbacks, and a lot of them, and a lot of good ones. Steve Wiltfong, one of the newest ones. We knew Cavon Bryant's been coming for a few weeks now. And we also knew Logan Flaherty has been coming for a few weeks now. But the other day, Steve Wiltfong, Rivals on 3, reported that Jace Johnson, Texas A&M quarterback commit, will now be coming on campus as well for this game, which is another very interesting one, and another local guy, a lot like Omari Thomas. But this one, I didn't really expect it at all.
I tried to tell you. Tried to tell you. We were talking about Cavon Bryant earlier in the week in terms of Florida State being a potential front runner, really taking it to some of those Texas schools that are after Cavon right now. And Matt and I were talking earlier the week, and I brought up Jace Johnson as somebody that I don't think Florida State's going to let go very lightly, even though he committed to Texas A&M on August 3rd, I believe. I felt like Florida State was in a really good spot for Jace Johnson prior to his commitment, and closer to the fact, it was very clear that it was going to be Texas A&M. Yeah. But I mean, Jace Johnson was on campus at Florida State over the summer twice, so I felt like Florida State was in a really nice spot for him, and Texas A&M is ultimately who won out earlier. But I was telling Matt earlier in the week, I feel like he's going to be back sooner rather than later, and maybe a day later. Jace Johnson pops up, and the Reverend Steve Wiltfong drops the intel that he's going to be back on Florida State on Saturday. This is a really, really nice group of quarterbacks that they have on campus this weekend, Matt. A lot of guys that they've invested a lot of time in. I don't know how you feel about this personally, but who do you think that FSU covets the most out of these 2027 QBs? Because you have guys like Peyton Houston, who they brought in one time, didn't really see to get a lot of traction there. You have Johnson, you have Flaherty, you have Bryant. You also have somebody like Trent Seaborn, who has been on campus 3, 4, 5 times over the last 2 years. I don't know necessarily that Seaborn fits the offense or fits the pure idea of what Gus wants to be, although that was a big talking point when he came here early in January. Who do you think Florida State, if they could choose today, who do you think they would choose?
I think it's Cavon Bryant, hands down, right? That's the guy out of these. And Jace Johnson and Flaherty are also mobile as well, but no one is Cavon Bryant. And Cavon Bryant is the number 1 quarterback according to Rivals. Like, I understand that coaches have their own rankings, have their own boards, right? At least they always say they're not looking at our rankings and stuff like that. But, you know, this kid is ranked number 1 for a reason, and he's seen as that high level for a reason, right? And out of all of these, he probably fits your Gus Malzahn mobile quarterback that you want more than all the rest of these, even though they do have mobility to him. And you mentioned Trent Seaborn. He's also still trying to get in for a visit, but I believe from reading around, looks like Oregon's probably in the clubhouse lead right now, right? But yeah, definitely Cavon Bryant, and which is surprising. Like, I was talking to sources close to him earlier this week. I talked about this in the video I did with Michael that's over on the channel as well, that Florida State might be the top school here. Really? Like, I mean, we're talking a Texas kid, and Texas Tech are there. Now, Texas Tech, until they had money, didn't have much pull in the state. Like, it's Texas Tech. Lubbock isn't the best town in the world. It's probably one of the worst, but it's
gripping Texas analysis here from our Texas native Matt Lasser.
Yeah, but it's just surprising, right, to see Florida State up there. And what was cited for the reason for that was his interactions with the coaches when he came on that visit in February, when he got to see everything, he got to watch film with the staff. Like, it left such an impression on him that's why they're coming back. That's why they're in such a good spot here. And this really didn't start coming out until the last few weeks, that Florida State was so invested in this kid, right? Like, he had been on campus, but you and me, we always saw Seaborn or Jace Johnson as our top 2.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool that they're in this one, because I did a story on it, came out Thursday morning, that, like, if you land him and you're in a good spot, and again, you still have to get the NIL right, and you still have to play well on Saturday and show that there's improvement. But if you land him, this is Norvell's DJ Lagway. Like, Luke Kromenhoek was good, but Cavon Bryant's on a different level of where, like, do you think that could keep his job if things go south, having him in the fold kind of thing, like Billy Napier did for DJ? Like, this is a generational kind of guy that would be the biggest recruit they've ever gotten, besides Travis Hunter, but obviously how that worked out.
Yeah, I mean, if they were able to get him, like, that's a narrative changer for Norvell and Tokars too.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
a narrative changer, because right now the narrative is that you cannot recruit and keep your high school quarterbacks. You lost Tramel Jones to Florida close to signing day, and there was more involved with that, obviously. I mean, Tramel was flirting with Florida for the better part of that year. And then you have Brady Schmeigel, who's your 5-star that you think is going to kick off this class, and obviously the coaching changes happen. Gus wasn't thrilled about him. Even though
I think the feeling was mutual.
I think the feeling was mutual too. But I mean, if we want to get into the weeds of it, I think the feeling was mutual from I was never convinced that Schmeigel was going to stay as part of that recruiting class.
No, it was never there.
He was very clearly going to go to Michigan until Brady Hart committed to Michigan before him. He 180 to Florida State, and that was his decision. And we can go into all I fell in love with Florida State. Michigan was Brady's first choice, and that is ultimately where he ended up after Brady Hart reclassified and went to Texas A&M. So, I mean, things have worked out probably as they were going to work out last summer when Brady ultimately decided to commit to Florida. That might have been in last April. The timeline gets blurry. But anyway, back to the point. This would be the narrative breaker for Norvell. No,
100%. It would be huge. It would be insanely huge. And like Logan Flaherty is one that I think you could be there for a while. He's an in-state kid. He's down the board there right now, but he's still talented. He came for a camp over the summer. Jace Johnson, I got the feeling reading A&M boards when that was about to happen that A&M was still going to shop around for other quarterbacks as well. Obviously, you don't want that. You want to be the one quarterback in the class, so it makes sense that he's looking around too. And he's a local kid. Like, he's originally from Madison County. So, like, that's a cool one to be into as well. Cavon Bryant is just another level.
Yeah. I think Florida State would be happy with Jace Johnson too, by the way. I don't think this is Cavon or bust by any means. Not that you're saying that, but if we're going to sit here and gush over the prospect that Cavon Bryant is, I think it is worth noting that Jace Johnson is really damn
Johnson
good.
He's the third in the class. I've been high on him for a while. Like, I mean, I saw him at the Under Armour camp in February too, where he was one of the younger guys competing, and he held up pretty well. And then he visited multiple times. I mean, he's been on campus. Him and Seaborn are probably pretty close to the same amount of times on campus, but it's both a lot. Like, it's probably 5 or 6 times each.
It's asking a lot. And I know in modern day recruiting that this is very difficult to do, but I would love to see Norvell and Tokars go wire to wire with a quarterback commit. And it's hard. That's why
I did it with Kromenhoek.
You did it with, but Kromenhoek was almost I don't want to use the word project, Matt. The kid didn't take snaps before his junior year of high school.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason why, you grabbed Kromenhoek early, you got on him early, you got him committed. Georgia is the only program that really came in late. I think he took a visit to Penn State, if I remember, but that was
and then he shut it down the spring game. That was
right. Correct.
That was like the last visit he took, and then I think because him and Cam shut it down together, right? Like, I think they had to talk with them in Norvell's office. It was like, hey, like,
shut it down.
We need you to be done here. Yeah.
to the point, and it's like, again, it's difficult in modern college football. I mean, you even have a guy like Jared Curtis who back and forth between not back and forth, but it was a Oregon. Sorry, slip of the tongue there. Yes, he's going. It's not wire to wire. It's very hard to go.
Yeah,
it would be so good to see Norvell grab a kid that everybody wants.
That's your leader of your class,
and keep him. It is so important to have a vocal, committed leader at the forefront of your recruiting class. It is so important.
Yeah,
and say what you will about the 2023 and 2024 classes, but having Cromahawk and Cam Davis as your vocal leaders recruiting other guys publicly.
Oh, it was huge. It was huge. I remember them showing up to Charles Lester's commitment.
It does more than you think. So I would like to see that. I would like to see that for sure. Before we move on, I do want to kind of ask and see what your opinion is, because Ashari Charles was going to be your lone official visitor this weekend. That's no longer the case. He has canceled his official visit, as you said earlier. I don't believe there's any intent to reschedule right now. To me, this really feels like Miami said, hey, we're hosting Notre Dame this weekend, and it's going to be a top 25 matchup. You should probably be here. And probably said, hey, we don't want you going to Tallahassee. That's kind of my gut impression. Now, it could be some other things. Maybe he just didn't want to go. But if I were to guess, that would be my gut impression. And that makes things a little bit complicated, because this is really your biggest opportunity that you're going to get to have an impressive primetime matchup against a ranked football team in Doak this year. I mean, the other one's probably going to be Miami, and he's not going to come and officially visit Miami or for the Miami game as a commitment of Miami. Now, if he decommits from that, then that opens up the world of possibilities again. I can't remember off the top of my head who the other home games are later in the season, but
it's like Virginia Tech, Pitt.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't
like
matter that much, but obviously if you're going to bring in a kid that you desperately want and desperately need, you're going to want to do it during one of your marquee matchups, and you're not really going to have that chance currently as it is with Ashari being committed to Miami. You're not going to bring him in against Miami.
No, yeah.
Do you kind of get the same Dumas mentality with this that I do, where it's kind of like, well, that might be the end of that until he decommits, if he decommits?
Yeah, I haven't gotten the feeling as of now it's being rescheduled. It could very well be. I mean, these things change quickly. Thank you to Steve Wagner of Kane Sport for helping us confirm that he did cancel his official visit. But it's kind of, I mean, we talked about this last week, or maybe the week before. We talked about this before. This was a long shot anyway, right? You were in it early, right? He came to a camp, but he committed to Miami like a while ago at this point, and Texas Tech was the other one in it. If you wanted the kids, you were going to have to pay up. That's pretty clear. It's you don't have an edge in the class right now, but that's fine. And and also another layer to this is that Venice is playing Miami Northwestern in Miami, I guess today. And that's another layer to, like, when I texted Johnny Jones and he told me he wasn't coming, he was like, yeah, it's because we're playing in Miami and it's hard to get up there. And my first thought was, oh, well, I'm sure Ashari Charles probably has a flight out of Miami that night. That would make sense because it's official visit. They can pay for it. And Johnny already has official visit, so he can't hop on the flight with them. That's obviously a recruiting violation. I was like, you know what? That makes sense. Yeah. Whatever. But then another layer into it is I was listening to I think it was the Wilt Fong Whip Around with Josh Newberg and Wilt Fong. And he said that 20 of their 21 commits from Miami were expected to be at that Notre Dame game. And the one was Jackson Cantwell. So that would mean if Ashari Charles was expected at that game already, that would mean that his official visit would have been like less than 24 hours.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, because it's on a Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you agree with my initial kind of impressions that Miami said pump the brakes on this, where you're
probably,
buddy, you're not doing that.
That's what it feels like, right?
And that's a Cristobal thing too. Like, Cristobal does not like kids taking other visits.
Especially Florida State.
Especially to Florida State.
What if you're just in the tailgate lots and you want to score some, burgers and food and delectable treats? Well, make sure to head over to Langford Green between 1:30 and 3:30 p.m. for the Whataburger Touchdown Tour. Yes, it's back again. They were there last season, and the food truck pulls up at Langford Green, and it's pulling up again for the season opener this weekend. It's making its stop in Tallahassee, where they'll be serving up real pregame fuel, a fresh Whataburger in hand. If you're heading to the lots before kickoff, Langford Green is where you want to be. It'll be great energy all around. Roll through, grab a bite, rep the squad, and bring home a pregame W. Whether you're showing up for the burgers, the merch, or a solid start to a game day, Whataburger's got you covered. That's this Saturday, 1:30 to 3:30 on Langford Green. And as you can see, Florida State dignitaries will be in attendance, McKenna Reed and A.J. Swinton. I really enjoy that this particular organization goes and grabs local athletes to be out there and support them in the era of NIL. That's pretty cool. Available again this Saturday, Langford Green. They give out some free food, and it's made to order. You know Whataburger's delicious, and that's honestly, as I've said before, 2 or 3 times a year. If I'm really craving a burger, it is with Whataburger. So it'll be available on Saturday.
Yeah, I have to imagine that basically shelves that recruitment until there's.
I would think movement. So, and we talked about it before. Again, I think they have a much better chance with the other edge rushers on the board.
Yeah, one of those other edge rushers, Chris Garbin, is actually going to be in Tallahassee for the Alabama game this weekend. Obviously, his official visit is going to be for that Miami game 4 or 5 weeks later. But you kind of called it last week on the show. You thought that Chris Garbin and Florida State had very heavy mutual interest, and him being here for not only the Alabama game, but going to be coming back a couple weeks later for the Miami game really kind of speaks that interest is real.
Yeah, I don't know if I confirmed the Miami game, but we have that was the thought. So I was good. This was one of the ones that we found out this morning on Thursday morning when we officially got the list and fill in the gaps. And
hold on, is that Miami visit not confirmed? I thought that visit was confirmed.
We've heard that maybe it's a thing. I don't know.
Okay, then maybe you should caveat that. That was my mistake. I thought that was confirmed.
Good, I personally have not confirmed it yet. I've been swamped this week.
Damn it! Give me my news right now.
We have heard that that's a possibility. There's through people close to him. We've heard that's like the thing. But seeing him on, this was one we found out today. Or I found out Thursday that he was visiting, and that's big, especially with losing Ashari Charles on the list, having this edge rusher in here who we've heard that the Florida State offer holds some weight. That's the big get towards a edge rusher in this class.
Yeah, some other guys as we go down the list here that kind of piqued the interest or piqued the eye in terms of guys that are going to be on campus this weekend. DQ Forpa, we've gone. I think we've talked.
There's nothing new more to talk about him.
We've talked that one to death. 5-star 2027 offensive tackle Mark Matthews out of St. Thomas Aquinas is going to be there for the Bama game. That is a huge visit for Florida State. Florida State's really in that thing.
They've been in it for a while,
and they have been in that for a while. Yeah. So that when we talked earlier about Mike and Tony being able to lock down a big time quarterback early. I'm sure that he's not going to make a decision early, but wouldn't it be nice? Another narrative breaker if you can get a 5-star offensive tackle. Florida State's got to show it on the football field if they want to stay in this thing. Make no mistake about it. They got to show that improvement on the football field. But it's good to get Matthews in early. George Lamons Jr., 4-star wide receiver.
I love that kid.
He's a great athlete. He's a great and a great talent. You and I saw him. Did he come back?
7-on-7.
Did he come back again this year for 7-on-7, or was he just
no? That was just the 2 summers ago. He was back he was here for a junior day, right? I don't remember if he visited for spring practice, but he was here for a junior day. And that kid, and then he committed to Texas A&M not long after, decommitted. I believe when we were in Charlotte for ACC kickoff or right before ACC kickoff, and I started talking to some people around him, and it was pretty clear that Florida State was one of the schools in it. I think this one is still pretty open. I did expect them to be a contender, and then another report came out from a national guy. I don't remember who, that Florida State wasn't listed, but it's very clear that Florida State is still a contender here. And I always thought Florida State would be in this one, right? It's very close. Florida State has been described to me as his dream school, which I know a lot of people don't like hearing that. But
Matt, you might as well as just signed the kiss of death.
Yeah, that's KJ Bolden Dream School, but
oh my gosh,
it's a local kid. Can we talk about how Florida State was able to recruit the Big Ben in South Georgia? I don't think you'd have to go anywhere else. I thought about this like yesterday. I was looking out my window, drinking a beer after a long day, and I was like, this area has some more talent than you realize.
The Panhandle for sure. There's definitely some underrated talent and kind of that county line, that Florida Georgia line area in terms of prospects that could be valuable additions to your program. Absolutely.
Okay. Who's next? Lawrence Britt.
Yeah. I'll take that was a name that I think you just added on the doc. So if you want to add that, if you want to talk about him real quick.
Yeah, I like Lawrence Britt a lot. He's someone who was here in the spring from Memphis. So you got some connections there, obviously, with Mike having coached at Memphis. Preston Brady, the assistant tight ends coach on the staff, from there as well, and has a lot of ties there. Might even what school does? Oh no, sorry, never mind. But I think this is one Florida State is well in. He told me that Florida State was in a good spot, one of those top schools for him. He's really. I asked a lot of these kids, and a story will come out. I was like, what are you guys looking for? Like, obviously, it's great if they win. What do you want to see? Do you want to see facilities? Do you want to see improvement? Do you want to talk to the coaches? A lot of them said the atmosphere. Lawrence said he wanted to see the improvement and the growth of this offense and just see the difference of it, right? He's a very talented wide receiver. With Florida State going after so many wide receivers in the class right now for 2026, I wonder how many they're going to go after for 2027, right? I would assume that you overload in 26, you're probably going to have a lot less in 27. But, yeah, I mean, I like where FSU is right now for Lawrence Britt early and just continue to hammer it down.
Yeah, let's go a little rapid fire here so we can get into the rest of the show. We've already talked about Chris Carbon, Omari Thomas. The Jacobs brother is going to be in town. DJ and Dawson, obviously DJ, 5-star, I believe. I don't know if he's a 5-star yet. If not, he's a very high 4-star with On3 and Rivals for the 2027 class. And then his younger brother Dawson is a 4-star for the 2028 class. You guys might not know who these kids are yet. You're going to. You are going to. Wow, are they talented? And boy, even though
getting in early.
Yeah, you're getting in early. Now, caveat, they are Georgia legacy kids. They live in the heart of Georgia. Their father played for Georgia. But there is a very, very strong connection between them and Odell Higgins that is going to keep Florida State in this. It's going to have some staying power there. These guys really enjoyed their first visit to campus. I think it was earlier in the spring this year. No, I believe it was was it a junior day that they were here? The timeline is insane. I think so. it was a junior day. They wanted to be back in the spring, and I think they were scheduled to be in town at the end of the spring when unfortunately the shooting happened. I think that they were affected by that.
Yeah,
that's why that timeline got a little blurry for me. But they are going to be back for the Alabama game. These are two talented kids that have a connection with Odell Higgins. That is going to be invaluable as Florida State tries to get in with them. And they're great kids. They're really easy to talk to. Very, very mature in understanding kind of the implications of the pressure that's going to be on them in terms of being Georgia legacies while also being recruited nationally by other schools and making sure that they're going to get the most out of the recruiting process. Amari Vickerson, who is a 2027 3-star defensive lineman. He has a relationship, or his father had a relationship with Terrence Knight, and they played together in the NFL. Honestly, his recruitment's been a little bit quiet for me. I haven't kept up too much tabs on Amari Vickerson since he was in town during the spring. But honestly, considering that connection, I wouldn't be surprised if that's an early pull for Florida State. To be completely honest with you, I'd have to do more research in terms of kind of where he is in his recruitment right now. But just at face value, you'd think that Florida State has a leg up there, considering that relationship is about as close as you can get. I mean, your father played with T Knight. That's about as close as you can get.
I remember
some other
kids
kids
talking about it in the spring, and I remember him gushing about it. It was kind of cool to hear him talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Some other kids, Kennedy Green, 4-star defensive back, one of the best in the nation, going to be in town. KJ Green, not affiliated with each other, just happen to have the last name. KJ is one of the best edge rushers in the class for 2027. So that is going to be a good litmus test for Florida State to impress him. He was here last year during one of the games. It might have been Boston College. It might have been Memphis, one of the first two games. And I remember talking to KJ. Spider-Man, I think he likes to call himself. He likes to be called Spider-Man, something along those lines. So it'll be a good litmus test for Florida State to be able to kind of wash out the memory of what last year's team was, refresh it with what this year's team could be. And then 2028, Anthony Howard Jr., he's been on campus a whole bunch. This is one that Florida State's been on for a minute now. They're going to continue to be in it for him, I'm sure, for the next couple of years. And I'll pass it over to you now, Matt, because you've got a whole bunch of basketball visitors here on the dock. That is your forte. That is where you have done a lot of research. So I'll give the floor to you, buddy. Tell everybody what they need to know about this big basketball recruiting weekend.
Yeah, and also there's so many more kids coming than what we listed. It's
absolutely
over 100 kids.
It's over 100.
We cannot go into all of them. Not even all of them are on the list on the recruiting board, just because we don't need to put everyone that doesn't have a profile and is 2028. Like, we know you guys really only want to hear about 26s and 27s right now, and so but most of the list and the important guys are on warchant.com on the recruiting board.
Before you start with that, how much of a blessing can I tell you it is to not have to go through and do the profile card game where you have to go through
yeah.
and find the profile card and do all the edits. That is one thing that I don't miss about working with under Rivals contracted to Rivals, is doing all the back end profile work and updating all of that stuff. And sometimes you have a kid that, if somebody made an account and the name was wrong and you're trying to look for him and it's like, hey, do you have an account? I got an account. A whole bunch of tedious, busy work that I'm glad that I don't have to be a part of.
There's a bunch of little things.
The basketball visitors.
Time.
Yes.
Basketball time.
Basketball.
So first off, we'll start off. They have 4 prime, very good visitors, all within the top 100 of either, whether it's the Rivals rankings or the industry rankings, are top 100 in one of them, all of these kids. Tony Bryant, who's a 5-star, was originally set to come. He's no longer coming this week, so it would have been 5, but he is one that he's looking to reschedule. We'll see what happens there. But still, even without him, star-studded visitor list for basketball. Marcus Ponder, Baby Shaq, he's committed. You guys already know about him. He will be on campus. I know he's excited. I know he's going to be seen as someone who's going to recruit hard for this 2026 class and these guys on the list. So won't get into him a whole lot because he's already committed. In basketball, flips and stuff like that aren't as common as they are in football. I think if you look, football recruiting is the only place that is very common to flip, which is interesting. I'm sure that'll change to other sports soon. But then you go to Cavon Thomas. This is where we get into the uncommitted guys.
Sorry.
Cavon Thomas.
Well, I was going to say, sorry to interrupt you, but I'm saying,
You're
well,
good.
first of all, you probably need to have a basketball program that people want to play for in order for schools to actually flip your prospects. Which, hey, maybe with Luke at the helm, there's going to be a lot of attention on Tallahassee.
Hey, he's gotten off to a really good start, man.
He has gotten off to a good start.
For the first time since my freshman year of college, which is when the team was really good and the season got canceled, or the tournament got canceled. I am excited for FSU basketball.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
you are so lucky. You got Beasley and Bacon your first couple of years when you were here.
Yeah.
The fighting bees, the freshman bees, the busy bees.
Yeah,
what are they?
Fun.
They called themselves something quirky. I can't remember.
I don't remember. It was fun. I remember I had to stand in that the Noles zone or whatever because all the seats were taken. Mm-hmm. And that Patrick Williams dunk freshman year, was it Trent Forrest? It might have been both. The drink against Louisville.
I think it was Trent.
My friend who was sitting behind me, got so nuts. Somehow in 5 seconds, he was 5 rows in front of me, looking back at me. It was. I don't know how it happened, but yeah. Back to who's visiting this weekend. Cavon Thomas, Luke Lauxton's company went and saw him at a live period earlier this summer, back in July. They've been on him for a while. He's been described as someone who has the potential to be the best player out of the guys that are coming this weekend or a pickup in the class for Florida State. This is one I kind of am waiting to see how this visit goes to really see where Florida State is, but they are in the top 3. The other schools that he has official visits set to are Miami and Auburn. Miami, obviously a big NIL player in the ACC, and Florida State basketball is down low when it comes to NIL in the ACC. So it's the staff and their relationships are a big deal and can go a long way. And hopefully you get that discounted price that we've talked about in relation to football last week, right? And then you have Colin Paul. Colin Paul is one that Michael Fly, an assistant who used to be a video coordinator for Florida State basketball, is now back as an assistant coach. He is known for how well he can recruit this state, and he was on Paul when he was a assistant coach at Jacksonville. And even talking to sources around Paul, it was obviously the kid was never going to Jacksonville University to play basketball, but it was the fact that Fly still always stayed on him and Fly always talked to him. And now Fly's at a place that can get him, right? Florida State is a very realistic option. He has a lot of ties. His camp has a lot of ties to Florida State. And I think this is one that the staff probably feels good about going into this weekend. He's one of those. There's 2 players on this list. There's Colin Paul, and there's the last one we'll get to in a second, that I think Florida State has the best chance to land in general in this class right now. So, and Colin Paul's only other official visit is to Loyola Chicago and to see, what's her name, Mary Jean, Sister Jean?
Sister Jean? Sister Jean? I think it's Sister Jean.
Sister Jean. Go see her up in Chicago. Or sorry, he already took that visit, but that's his only other official visit.
So he's back from Sister Jean. He's back from
Sister Jean. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And lastly, a name that you'll recognize because his dad played in the NBA and they share a name, Brandon Bass Jr.
Huh?
He obviously this is where Luke's NBA connections come into play, right?
Yeah.
Brandon Bass played in the NBA. Laux was a coach in the NBA, and obviously that makes a mutual connection. They're going to know a lot of the same people. They had a dinner that lasted 3 hours in Orlando a couple of months ago with the coach. And also, not to mention, Brandon Bass's coach went to Florida State and played around the same time as Laux. So this is another one that I feel good about of Florida State's chances of landing, or one of the guys I think they have the best chance at left in this class of the 2026. This staff has shown to be recruiting monsters so far, really. And that you would think at this point there's this. I mean, it could be because we didn't really know much. Like Coach Ham kept recruiting pretty under wraps. But it feels like they're going after a lot of big dogs that wasn't that much of a thing before. Do you think so too, from an outside, like not covering it as much perspective?
Yeah, from the outside looking in, I mean, I think there's excitement for change. I think that's a big thing. Change is oftentimes scary and to a certain extent undesirable. But when the right change happens and it's a real spark plug for your program, I think that from everything that I've seen from Fry and from Laux, both of them, they have that juice and that energy that Florida State basketball has been lacking pretty much since COVID happened. The program has been, I don't want to use the term dead in the water, but just almost soulless, lifeless, not much to be excited about, not only from a program trajectory perspective, but financially with NIL. Obviously, there's that lawsuit that's going on or has been going on. The power of change can sometimes be underrated. Yeah.
And especially the fact that it's a younger staff.
And the fact that this staff, and not to say that Hamilton didn't have connections or experience or NBA ties, but to have a fresh voice, fresh from the NBA, I think that also helps Luke too. I think there is tangible excitement from a lot of different sources when it comes to making Florida State, again, a viable contender in the ACC. And it doesn't have to happen right away. I think Luke is going to have a lot of time to clean things up. But to your point earlier, before you started, they're off to as about as good as a start before a game has been played, rather, I should say, than you could. I mean, he has gotten off to a really, really good start. And I'm pulling for Luke, obviously, not only personally, but as alumni. You hope that he can get the job done and bring some juice back to this program. We've got about 10 minutes to go left in the show, and Matt and I both wanted to go through and do a little preseason confidence test, for lack of a better term. We've got a list of recruits here, current commitments to Florida State. We're going to go through a couple of them.
By the way, hey, do you want to up it and just go through the whole class and just spit out numbers? And if there's something interesting, we'll stop. Like go to the On3 class page.
Oh, okay. Well, hold on. Now I got to go through the On3 class page. Okay.
Let's just,
anyways,
we'll get percentage confidence. If we have an interesting one, we'll stop.
Okay.
I know you wanted to go. You wanted to go through more.
Is that how you want to do it? I thought we were going to go like 1 through 10. 10 being you're confident they'll stick. 1, they're definitely gone. That's
the same thing as percentages. We can do either one.
Yeah, but the percentages are so precise.
Okay, we could do out of 10. Let's do out of 10. Let's go down the list.
Okay. All right. Well, if that's what okay. So I guess to fully complete that, we're going to go through the entire list, give our confidence that these guys end up with Florida State on Saturday. And this is obviously a projection with 4 months of football and recruiting left to be played. So obviously there is a huge, huge asterisk that recruiring is fluid and things can happen at any time. There's the butt cover. That you see.
Something can change tomorrow.
Something could change tomorrow.
Something can change next hour.
In terms of, so if we're climbing Mount Everest, we are placing a pike in the ground here and saying, here's how we feel at this given time before any football games are played 4 months ago until signing day. Matt Lassere, Chauncey Chuck Kennan, give me a number.
10. He has 10. A tattoo. That's it. He has a Florida State tattoo. It's a 10.
You know what? I couldn't have said it any more eloquently myself. Isaiah Williams.
7.
10. His mom has a tattoo.
Oh, that is true. His mom has the tattoo.
10. His mom has a tattoo. We are so far into the tea leaves. We are going by tattoos now.
I'll go. I'll move it up to 9 because I actually am pretty confident in that one.
In all seriousness, I can't go 10. Look, tattoos can be removed. I don't know if you knew that.
It's pretty painful though, and it doesn't look right after the fact.
But we don't know where this tattoo is, and I'm not going to.
That's true. I don't want to think about.
I'm not going to ask.
We should get off of that. We should get off of that.
5 for me. I'll say 5. I can't.
5.
Look, I can't. I literally cannot
Fine,
sit here and say that he's gonna. I can't. It's a 50.
I'll go back. I'll go with like 7.5 because I actually am pretty confident this is it. I do think that there's, especially with the injury, right? I think that that's going to slow things down a little bit for him, and I think especially because it's his second time committed to the school, I do believe it is done, and I'm going to harp on that because I know we're going to talk about it probably every week leading up to signing day, but I think it's done.
Okay, Ernest Rankins.
He's a quiet kid, so it's been kind of hard to get stuff on him. But he's a guy that Georgia and all those big dogs are still going to go after. If you don't play well, I could easily see him leaving. I'm going to go 5-6.
I'm going to go 4. I feel like this is a candidate to leave the class potentially.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just because
I think especially with the fact that Rankins chose Florida State over Auburn. Auburn has not had a good run of things. That price number can go up from an NIL perspective.
And this is a classic version of that.
Yes. And, I don't know. And there's a couple of kids on this list that I feel similarly about. But if you're committing to a program off of one visit, even if it's your official visit, now I think this is Rankin's second visit. Or he may have been visited. I think he was visited by Terrence Knight at his school. I can't remember if he was on campus actually off the top of my head before his official visit. But to get to the point, I mean, if your first visit is your official visit and you're committing off of that visit, I just never feel super strongly about you sticking. I feel like it does pay. And the trend is to lead up with multiple visits up until that commitment, if you know what I'm saying. So I think I'm at a 4 with Ernest.
Yeah, it's one of those that I think he's a top 100 guy, right? And it's the classic that the teams are going to come in with offers that you can't refuse to the last second. He's a Georgia kid. I'm sure Georgia's going to do something. Georgia doesn't want those kids to leave. Auburn was in there. And if Florida State doesn't play well, that adds another layer of him going somewhere else. So, yeah, I agree with you where this is one that the confidence is probably lower until I'm shown something else.
Devin Carter.
9.5.
Yeah, I'm there too. I don't think he's going anywhere.
I don't want to say 10 because he doesn't have a tattoo. But it's like but no, it's I don't want to say 10 because like the off chance that something does happen, but he's been committed here twice. This is the second time around. He flipped back. I think it's legacy 9.5.
I'm going to go 8. I think I'm at the similar confidence level as you are, but I do like to leave a little bit more room for error in there. Everything that I've heard behind the scenes is that Devin is locked in, for lack of a better term. This recruitment really had a lot to do with Norvell and Tim Harris and
100%.
The relationships that he has with those guys. Not to dive too much into it because we're against a time limit here, but I think the perception about him or the narratives that may have been about NIL or whatever it may have been in terms of him flipping from Auburn to Florida State, it was relationships, and the relationships are really strong here. I feel very comfortable with Devin in this class right now. Lawrence Timmons,
so
10.
Pretty much same thing as Devin Carter. Oh no, 9.5 doesn't have a tattoo.
We can't keep. We're gonna have to have all of these commits like come with like a small Seminole tattoo on their wrist and scan in like they're going to Disney World.
If I'm gonna say it once, I got to be consistent through the rest of the list.
I just could imagine that you have to get a small Seminole head tattoo on your wrist
for me to be 100% confident in you staying. Yeah, you need a tattoo, buddy.
No, but like so you show up to the Moore Center and you just scan your Seminole tattoo at the door to let you into the facility. Listen. Maybe we should have told Derek about this last week. That's a great idea. I don't care. I don't care who you are.
It's a new definition of until the ink. We don't trust it until the ink's dry.
Oh man, that's almost kind of dark. You're tattooing your commits. Oof.
It is. It's kind of like with those like
That's
not
dystopian.
utopian, but those. Yeah, that's what the word I was looking for.
That's dystopian. That's downright dystopian.
Movies.
Xavier Tiller.
This is an interesting one, and I know you were asking questions about it. I haven't been able to talk to him, but it's a weird one because he's a quiet kid. But I remember when he came out of that Florida State visit, and it seemed like it all clicked. But it was always Auburn's to lose, and Florida State came in and won it right at the right time. Right? I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with a 6 if Auburn still sticks around. But in general, I think that if he keeps coming back and taking visits to Florida State, I think he's going to get that feeling of remember that feeling he had and stick. But if Auburn ends up coming back in, I could see the shape.
Yeah, I think I'm at a 6 too. I'm not gonna raise my radar until he starts taking visits other places.
Yeah,
that's a good way to put it. Ephraim EJ White. This is another one that's kind of just like
tattoo.
You're gonna give it a 10?
I'm gonna give it a 10, even though he doesn't have a tattoo.
Okay. I was gonna say 7, and not because he's out of all of the commits that are committed right now. He is one of those ones where I feel like there's just the potential that he's just not in the class, like Florida State.
It's just like a gut.
Yeah, like
okay.
it's like a gut feeling, and I don't know why. I think his senior season is going to tell us a lot about what he can do and where he fits, because
he does
a lot of things well.
So
but
he's in with Gus and everything.
You think so? He does a lot of things well. He does so many things. Oh well, that's fair.
Before he was at FSU,
right? Yeah.
That's my reason for it.
What did you say? You said 10. Okay. Okay. I'll say 7. I still feel good, but I don't know. I just feel like a gut feeling like that may just be one of those surprising November.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
November departures that you're kind of just like, well, it kind
Make
of
room for Calvin Russell, right?
Yes. 100%. Similar to the, CJ Hurd. You remember CJ Hurd?
Yeah, I feel like there was something behind the scenes we don't know there.
I think Florida State moved on from him is what happened.
Yes. Yeah.
But one of those where it's like, okay, the kid's locked in. He's fielding offers from other places. He's still locked in. And then it just, you go sometimes you just go your separate ways, and that's okay. Not because there's anything wrong.
D-Ray talked about that last week too. It happened.
Yeah. And I don't,
you can walk away.
Let's be fair. D-Ray was saying if there's something that appears during the evaluation process and there's a negative nuance to that, like they discover something. I don't think they're going to discover something about EJ. He's a great kid. I don't think they're going to, but just sometimes schematically roster building, sometimes you just go your separate ways. I don't know. We could be sitting here looking back on this in December saying, Nick, you're stupid. Brandon Bennett.
I say that anyway.
Okay.
Brandon Bennett. Brandon Bennett is one I think sticks because I just don't think he's a take at the other places he's talking to. The Georgia, the Floridas, Miami.
I'm at a 7. I'm at a 7.
I think a 7's a good number, and it's literally just because he was not a take at Florida, and that means he's probably not a take at Georgia. So it's like why
his head coach is also at Florida State. His former head coach is also at Florida State.
Yep. Yeah.
Jaden O'Neal.
I'm pretty confident that one, barring anything happening, I'll go 8.
8.5. 8.5.
Yeah. I was thinking 8, 9. I was right in that area.
Yeah. I just can't see him going through that whole.
No, because it was pretty tough on them and the family too to start. So I think he stays. I mean, the kid moved all the way to Oklahoma and then he had to leave. So it sucks, but it's
and
good.
Florida State really doesn't have any other quarterback options right now.
No, there's
unless Keyshawn Henderson does a complete 180 or Orlando Duckworth does a complete 180, which of course they're not a very low probability. Exactly. Yeah, that's not going to go through. One that I think might be interesting, Tadarius Hughes.
This is a weird one in my opinion, because he's always come back and seemed locked in, but then still flirts around a little bit. 6, 7.
I was going to say 5'6". I think,
Really?
yeah, because I think apart from so Nebraska's kind of come on in the last minute here, and he didn't take an official visit there, but the reporting is that he's going to take an official visit there eventually. Yeah. Right. That's the current thinking. I just don't feel like he's had much of a recruitment process. You know, he committed to Florida State early.
It's been really weird.
Miami was initially like rah, Miami kid. We're gonna, protect the yard, and then Miami wasn't really.
So that always works.
And Syracuse is obviously is coming on probably the strongest here.
Syracuse is South Florida, man. We talked about it on the first episode, and I was excited to talk about it.
I think Tadarius is locked in, but I don't think that he's had much of a recruitment process. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe.
I feel like behind the scenes he has more than we think. I think it's been hidden pretty well, right? Because he always just shows up at a place. Like he'll just post a picture of Nebraska randomly.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
And then you go into the whole, he's wearing these gloves at this time, which I think is a little crap. I'll say 6. I'll say, you know what? I'll go with you. 6'7". I hate to disagree with you just to end up agreeing with you. We'll say 6'7". Trey Bell
locked in. No, Trey Bell. Kind of the same story as Hughes, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with a 6.
I say 7.
7. I'm more confident. I'm not really worried about either of those guys, but yeah.
Darion, 9, because he doesn't have a tattoo that we know about.
Yep. Yeah.
Next interview. Every single interview that you do for Warchant now.
Hey, do you have an FSU
do you have a
tattoo?
Seminoles tattoo? Yeah.
No. Oh, you're not locked in, man. Like whatever.
Jason Lopez.
That's an interesting one. Because Steven Wagner of Kane Sport is still confident in his RPM in Miami from before. He posted that. I'm 50-50 on him. I'll go 5.
I'll say 4. I think Luke Laux won Florida State this battle the first time.
Yes, and I heard the same thing.
I think that Florida State offering Lopez in basketball months before Miami did. Miami offered him in basketball on his official visit officially.
And I think the basketball staff loves this kid too. Like in general, I think they say to a lot of kids, like, yeah, we would recruit you at both. But this is a kid that I know for a fact they really like. So, but the reason I'm so hesitant about it is like over time, Lopez is actually, and this doesn't mean anything in the long run, but Lopez is one of the commits that's not going to be here for Alabama. Over time, and Miami's only 10 minutes away from his house. With more time and more assurance from Miami that they do actually want him in both sports, as opposed to saying, oh, we want you in football and basketball, and then offering him in basketball on his official visit, right? I think the more time that Miami gets to lay into him that they do want him there, the pressure on Florida State to deliver, especially on the football field, is going to be really, really high. It's going to be a full team effort between Norvell and Laux. I would like to think that this kid sticks, but that call to stay home can sometimes be really strong. I agree. And that happens. That happens in recruiting, that kids want to stay home. That's not it's an interesting one, and it's one that I think it's been made a lot of. Like it's in West Virginia's there a little bit too, but this is going to be a Florida State Miami battle at the end. I'm 50-50 on it. I feel like we're about to rattle off a bunch of 10s. Deron Parks. I haven't heard anything to think it's too fresh. It's too fresh to, I'd say 7, 8. Yeah. Tico Cretendon. I feel the same about Tico the way that I feel about Ernest. I was going to say, because he only took the official visit. That's why I was a little less on it. I'll go 6. 6, 7. 6, 7. I think 6. I think out of the two of them, I think Ernest is the more desired prospect. Now, that's not to say that Tico wouldn't go anywhere else. But I think if in terms of difficulty of playing defense on your committed kids, I think he needs to get on campus a couple times. And again, that's one that you don't raise the alarms unless he starts visiting other places. But right. And that can be said for all of these kids. Yes, but you would like to see him come back a couple. Sean Johnson. We got to go lower up at 10. The kid's locked 9.5. No 10. Evan, shut up. Evan Cooper special. Karan Maycock. 7. 7. He said he shut it down, but quiet kid. You never really know what's going on.
Whitley Cadeau, 10.
10.
Jacoby
9.5.
Green, 10.
Yeah, easily.
Noah LaValle, 10.
Yeah, the one thing that overtakes the tattoo is having your brother on campus. Yeah, 10.
Luke Francis and Michael Ionati are 10s, right? To round it
Luke
all
Francis is the biggest 10 who doesn't have a
out.
tattoo.
Is he 11?
on this.
Is he an 11?
He might be an 11, dude.
He might be an
when
11.
Did you get to interview him after he committed?
Francis? No. I think
Dude,
Pat might have been there.
That was no, it wasn't on campus. It was I called him. But
oh no, then no.
It was the best phone interview I've ever done. The kid was
Really?
like so excited. It was. I mean, my phone interviews, I like to keep them quick. I don't want to waste anyone's time. Plus, I can get most of it done in 2 minutes, right? All of our basic questions. That's all times 3 minutes. So this call went 11 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. So it tells you, like, I love Luke Francis.
Okay. And that's everybody.
That is.
It wasn't quite the 10 minutes that I thought it was going to be, but that's everybody. I
let you
feel
guys
like
know how excited Nick was for that segment. This is what
really
he's been
excited.
fighting for like a week and a half.
Because I think, look, you can't be afraid to be wrong in this business, and I think it's interesting. Like it's fun. I'm all about fun, like that. Especially when recruiting is so not fun sometimes, and it can be not fun from the fan perspective. Sometimes you need to make things fun. Oh yeah. Thanks. Thank you, everybody. And on a serious note, thank you for watching and listening to the Warpath.
And hey, if have you decided? I'm putting you on the spot. Have you decided if you're going to Quarter Pocket and when this drops an hour or 2 hours?
I will be at Quarter Pocket on Friday.
There we go.
Make sure if you're going to meet some of the Warchant staff, I will be there as well. We haven't really talked about it, but I am kind of Warchant staff now.
He's part-time at Warchant, part-time at Osceola. For cases of this show, he is the Osceola. He is the entire Osceola.
I am the Osceola. I am the entity. Oh, come on.
Oh no.
There's an altercation at Corner Pocket tomorrow. If there's sirens at Corner Pocket tomorrow, it's because I've done something horrific to Matt. For legal reasons, that is a joke. That should be the end of the Warpath. Thank you for listening and watching. We'll be back next week with some breakdowns, some takeaways from what the recruits said from the first game day visit of Alabama.
Interview. And maybe our second guest on the show. We're working on it. No promises as of now, but we are working on it, and we are expecting to get our second guest on next week.
And potentially, if Florida State wins, I could definitely foresee some good news. Some good news from in terms of aftermath from a victory against Alabama. But we got to get there first. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you smash the like button on YouTube. Continue coming back if you're listening on other platforms. My name is Nick Carlisle with theosceola.com. And that is Matt Lasser with Warchant.com. This has been the Warpath. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy the game on Saturday. We'll be back next Friday.